And we're back. Welcome back to the Retirement Decoded podcast. I'm your host, Scott Tucker. I'm here with Associate Advisor Max Wren. Say hello, Max Wren.
Hello, Max Wren.
And on today's podcast, we have a question from Karen in Naperville. Easy for you to say. So here we are. Karen in Naperville says, Max, how do I protect my retirement savings from a market crash? ? So Max, Karen lives out in Naperville. Now we're in Chicago, Illinois, and we help clients primarily in Chicagoland area, but we are federally licensed, so we help clients in Michigan and Wisconsin and Florida and Texas and California and wherever else I'm forgetting. So, but Karen is in Naperville, Illinois. That's a little ways outside of Chicago, western Chicagoland suburb. That town, Naperville, that's over 100-some thousand people.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's big.
Yeah, I haven't been to Naperville yet, surprisingly. That's one place I haven't been.
Have you never been there?
Illinois yet.
And it stretches. You gotta get in the hoop till you get out there.
Oh, man, I got
Not
Chicago
really.
here.
Not really. It's a ways to go. And Max lives in the city, so is it Logan Square?
You got it. I love Logan Square, by the way. If
Yeah,
you
so
Logan Square, give us a call.
And if you're already in Logan Square, you don't have a lot of reason to drive to Naperville, you know.
Yeah.
So Karen in Naperville is concerned that the stock market feels overheated and wonders if she can what she can do to protect her savings and that she'll rely on for retirement. I should mention too. So say if we were to work with Karen in Naperville, we are northwest corner of Chicago. We're across the street from a suburb called Park Ridge. Karen would never have to come see us if she didn't want to. We have folks like from Lake Villa in Cook County that have never been to our office just because they don't want to drive 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And we have clients. We have a client from Fort Lauderdale, Florida area. He's never been to the office. He just read a book that I wrote about firemen's deferred comp.
He's a great dude.
Yeah, and he just became a client over over a phone call and email and DocuSign and FedEx and all that. So we can help you wherever you are.
Yeah, with the Zoom, it's kind of different.
Yes, people like to do the Zooms, and so a lot of people say, I don't need to come in. So Karen in Naperville, she's concerned the stock market feels overheated. I kind of feel that too. Max and I both been, saying that, like we said on last week's podcast, I think it was, we're hearing people say that they want more risk. And whenever people say they want more risk, usually means the market's at a top.
Yeah, we're just to expand on that investor confidence. We're releasing it enter euphoric, I'd say, stages. Anytime we have people sitting down with us and they're kind of talking to us as if they're the experts and they know this stuff a lot more, that's usually a pretty good warning sign that we're going to see things change a little bit here. So
whenever we have somebody, I'm probably giving away some inside secrets here as far as we'll have people say, I love Apple stock and I've got it in my brokerage account, which brokerage account, the proper term would be non-qualified account, not a qualified retirement plan. But that's, I guess, nitpicky maybe to some people. We just want to use the right terms so that we don't get confused with one another. But Max, I love Apple so much and I've got $1 million of Apple stock in my brokerage account. And if I had more cash, I'd buy more of it. So, you know what we could do, Max?
Yeah.
We could, if you were the client or prospective client, say, you know what we do, Max? You've got $1 million of Apple stock in your non-qualified account, but you don't have enough cash to buy more of it. Let's get a hold of Schwab or Fidelity. We can borrow you another $1 million and put it all in Apple. And they're like, oh, wouldn't that be too risky? And I go, you just said you wanted more of it, and you've already got $1 million of it. So what's the difference? We'll have $2 million of it.
Oh my gosh.
And then they go, well, and they say, well, but Max, I got to tell you, what's the downside of that? Is if the Apple stock goes down 50%, you get wiped out. You don't have any million in that. And they go, oh my goodness, that's crazy. I just want to see where your risk meter is. You're just telling me how much you love the Apple stock, and why don't we buy more of it?
And what Scott just did, folks, is something that we kind of call is going to crazy town with people. So we'll have people just sit down with us and say the most outlandish things. And if you kind of tell them, if their idea maybe isn't the best, they're not too receptive of that. But if you kind of do these leading prompts or leading things, usually they kind of, that switch goes off in their brain.
It'd be
they kind of understand better.
It'd be sort of like, say, if I was going to go skydiving and I go, Max, skydiving is awesome. Like, to me, I'm like, I don't need to jump out of a plane. There's no reason to do that.
Yeah, I'm okay on that. Yeah.
Right.
I like heights, but.
So what if somebody came to us and they said, I love skydiving. Look at me. I've got my chute and I got my reserve chute. They say, you know what? you don't need that reserve chute. The first one's going to open.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
You're good.
you're like, hey, why don't we take more risk?
Yeah. No, it's funny though. It's usually Apple though, or Nvidia stock.
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting down with a couple months ago, and they were in all Procter and Gamble stock. That's where the husband worked, and had every single of their, every penny in Procter Gamble stock. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
At the same time, if you have, I should just mention it while we're thinking about it. If you have an employer stock, there's a defense contractor. Now, is that in Skokie or is it in? It's in Niles. There's a defense contractor in Niles that we run across sometimes. One of our clients works there, and they folks who work there end up with a whole bunch of employer stock in their 401k. And there's a little maneuver there. Instead of just selling that later on and paying federal income tax, there's a thing called net unrealized appreciation, or NUA, where we can potentially help you pay at long-term capital gains rates rather than federal income tax rates. It can save you a lot of money. There's another couple companies up towards Lake Cook Road, maybe, or they're in Lake County or Cook. I'm thinking of a couple different companies. I don't want to name them. There are some kind of like pharmaceutical and biomedical companies. There's a few of them.
Lake Forest.
Yeah, there's a few of them that they offer the employees stock in that company, in those companies. It's more than just one. And so if you have employer stock in your 401k, don't just go to the strip mall advisor and have them roll it into an IRA. You'd be missing a big opportunity to be way overpaying on federal income tax.
Yeah.
So
we help people, if you have those, we help people like you with that kind of stuff every day. So give us a call.
There are roughly 1,700 tax incentives in the Internal Revenue Code, and we use about 100 of those strategies, those loopholes, they would say, but really they're tax incentives. There's about 5 of them that we use the most, but like net unrealized appreciation, most folks don't even know what it is. Most financial planners don't even know what it is. I dare say there might be a lot of CPAs and enrolled agents that don't know what it is.
I'd say most of them don't.
It's a lot to know.
As I get more experience in my career, I've been doing this stuff for, I don't know, like 11 years, but I'm finding out CPAs and EAs, enrolled agents, they don't know too much other than just how to file a tax form.
And I think what it might be is they might have used to have known it and to like pass an exam or something.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And then so I partly let the CPAs and the enrolled agents off the hook because they get all this, a CPA is a state license, okay? They go through all the schooling and do all this studying, and they pass the state license to be a CPA. And then what does the consumer do to them? Hey, here's my here's my W-2s. It's like the first week of February when the people get it's not even, now it's electronic W-2. So now it's like February 1st, the whole world mobs them. Here's my W-2s. Can I get my return done today? And how much can you get me for a refund?
Yep.
And so CPAs and enrolled agents, their profession largely in the tax preparation space has been perverted by the consumer demand. Just to do my tax return, do it as fast as possible, charge me as little as possible, get me the maximum refund, and it's just where the tax planning's gone out the window.
There's zero tax planning.
Yeah,
zero.
It's just a race to get through the returns as fast as they can. And then they usually get to where, have you noticed, Max, the accountants that do tax prep, tax return preparation?
They're the worst.
Yeah, no. Have you they're the worst.
They're the worst.
Somebody's got to do it. Well, I think the consumer has steered them in a direction though. But then what they all do is they all go on I think they're all on the same cruise on like May 1st.
Yeah.
Because what they typically do, and actually sometimes before that even, because they get all the returns filed on April 15th, and anybody who doesn't get them in time, they just file an extension, which that's understandable.
Right.
And then a lot of them schedule a cruise for like the 17th or so, depending on the year. Because sometimes there's a holiday. It's a District of Columbia holiday that falls sometimes on tax day. I can't remember what it is. But so say the CPA, them and their spouse and maybe their brat kids on maybe April 17th take a 2-week vacation.
Hey, I don't blame them
because they work their tail off for like 3 months. I mean, other
90-hour weeks.
Yeah, other times of the year they do too. But so Karen in Naperville is concerned that the stock market feels overheated and wonders what she can do to protect her savings that she'll rely for on retirement. Now, this is another one we had a couple weeks ago. Using the word savings, do we mean retirement savings or do we mean savings at a bank? I'm going to say that she probably means her investments or her retirement investments.
Yeah.
So what can she do to protect them? So Karen, by now, I'm sure you've talked to, if you have an advisor, I don't know if you have an advisor or financial planner or not. If you have a financial planner, you should ask them, I should ask you, do you remember when your financial planner put options under your positions? So put options would protect you from a market crash. Now, that wouldn't be possible to do in a 401k. So all the more reason, Karen, if you have an old 401k, it probably ought to be moved over to an IRA. Not specific advice, your mileage may vary. Or, but yes, if you have an advisor, have they use put options so that if there's a market downturn, you lose no money. And then I think Karen in Naperville wanted to know how should retirees think differently about risk than younger investors? You need a lot less risk. And Max, we've been talking about this for a couple of weeks on the podcast. We're getting a bunch of people coming to us saying they want more risk because the market's high.
Yeah, there's this weird misconception that when you're managing finances, rate of return, maximum growth is the only thing that matters. So we have people that come in and they want to throw out their whole retirement plan, all the hedging strategies, income plans, estate plan, tax plan, just to potentially get a couple percentage higher rate of return. So,
and where are we saying aside from not losing our keister in a market correction, aside from that,
yep,
where is the other biggest area of kind of return or impact that we might have potentially for a client?
Well, tax savings, that's going to be, probably the biggest area of opportunity as well.
And that's one that so many people are ignoring.
Yep.
People are coming in saying we need more return. I'm like, wait a minute, it says you made 20% last year.
Yeah.
No, I mean more return. Well, what if you lose 50%? What do you mean? I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I would sell. I would sell.
Well, don't try to time the market, guys. It's all about timing the market.
Yeah, if you're
timing it.
If you're a consumer, let's say you live in across the street in Park Ridge, Illinois, a suburb across the street, and you're busy working or grocery shopping or going to the gym or golfing with the boys, whatever. Max, who's going to have the best trade execution? Somebody on Wall Street that has a robot trade for them on fiber optics and algorithms, or the guy who's going to go golf the back nine at the Park Ridge Country Club?
Hey, he reads Yahoo Finance and watches Jim Cramer, though. He knows this stuff.
So do you think he's going to get the best execution?
That guy's going to get hustled.
Yeah.
He's going to be taken to the woodshed.
Well, people don't even realize, by the time the news is on the news, it's not news anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I know that this whole insider information thing's illegal. Does that mean that it doesn't happen?
Yeah, it's pretty hard to prove market manipulation.
All of these people every year the SEC catches a bunch of these guys in Manhattan that are passing secrets, and they're trying to catch SEC's trying to catch them with computers.
It's all big boys club, so they all talk to each other. They know what's going to happen before.
It's almost impossible for them to have any sort of friendship and not let something slip accidentally, even when they try not to.
If you're managing a hedge fund, private equity fund that's managing tens of billions, you're talking to the other guys who are doing those same kind of funds and bouncing ideas off, or they're hearing the whispers first than anybody else. So
let's say too. So if you're in Manhattan and you're on Wall Street and you hear the whispers, do you make sure those get in the paper right away?
That's the thing, right?
I say the paper,
you want to
like
get your full position, and then you want the retailers to come in and pump it up.
Well, if you haven't, the straight lingo though, Max, for our friends in compliance, if we have inside information, we're to report it to our compliance officer, and we're not to trade upon it, and then we're to have our accounts and our client accounts monitored by compliance.
Yeah.
But I'm saying for these ne'er-do-wells, these sinister characters in Manhattan, if they come across some inside information, even accidentally, even if they're not going to trade on it, do they go run to a reporter to make sure it's on CNBC?
Of course they do.
Yeah, right. And then somebody, even if they do the right thing and they report the inside information and they don't trade on it and all this other good stuff, and they don't tell any of these other Manhattan characters about it, there's somebody who's going to trade upon that and get better execution than you. And then there's even like in Chicago, downtown Chicago, where all the options are traded. Ken Griffin, who started Citadel, one of their specialties is, what is it, a block or two from the Board of Trade?
Yeah, they're on a couple. Yeah, they're on Dearborn Street, like 8 Dearborn, something like that.
It's
South
a
Dearborn.
it's a block or two from the options exchange.
Yeah.
And then they have fiber optic piped right into the options exchange. Then they have supercomputers that are programmed by 25-year-olds, and they have algorithms trading. They call it like they're playing back the tape. They program their algorithm based upon prior trading patterns. So if you're trying to trade options in Chicago, say you're in Park Ridge, and you got your dial-up internet on your Commodore 64, and then you're like, oh, I'm gonna trade options. You're trying to trade against Ken Griffin's nerd boys. There's 25-year-old nerd boys that aren't even trading themselves. They're programming the computer to trade.
Yeah.
So his traders, what they call traders, they don't have open outcry pits except for maybe S&P 500. What else do they have?
Open what?
The open outcry pit where they do the whole.
Oh, that's dead. Yeah, that's long gone.
They used to have it for S&P 500. Did they get rid of that too?
It's got to be gone.
They used to have
maybe the VIX.
They used to have just 1 or 2 pits that were still open outcry with the
I
colored
can see
vests.
VIX and
these are the options pits you used to see on TV, folks, where they'd have the traders that were real people and they were in the colored vests and they had the numbers and they do the hand signals and throw paper in the air and all that.
I actually learned what all the hand signals mean and everything.
Hey, watch it, Max. We're on TuckerYouTube.com. Watch it with your fingers.
Yeah.
I heard a couple years ago there was still, I think, an S&P 500, maybe it was a VIX. I think they still had an open outcry market for S&P 500. It was only 1 or 2 though. Those might be all gone now. It's 2026.
Unless you're like trading like giant blocks of like billions.
But even
it's kind of more in person.
I think they might have gotten rid of it. But last I heard, it was a year or 2 ago, they still had like 2 pits open. So Ken Griffin of Citadel fame. Now Ken Griffin used to be Illinois' wealthiest man, or one of them. And he just picked up everything and moved it to Miami area.
Why?
He moved it all in Miami area. Citadel still does have some. They still have some computers and some computer programmers and the fiber optics going right into the exchange. Are you gonna beat Citadel's execution?
You're never gonna beat them.
Sitting in your bungalow in Park Ridge with your Commodore 64 on dial-up.
The other thing they do is they create pods of people for every subsector, or they'll have a pod of people that watch a certain component that goes in electric vehicle stocks. And that pod of people will be PhDs. It'll be from people that were the top minds in those industries, that worked in those industries. And then Citadel said, hey, here's $3 million a year. I want you to work on this pod of people and tell me your findings and where you think things are going. So if you're going to versus like the top experts of those fields, like the top minds of those fields too, plus all the high frequency trading and everything else, I mean, it's like shooting fish in a barrel for those folks. So
it's like they have aluminum. They'll have a whole division of people that do nothing but study aluminum.
Yeah, they'll have like 20 people just study aluminum, and all those people had PhDs in aluminum or some kind of chemical field.
Or tungsten.
Yeah, tungsten. Yeah,
Max is all excited about tungsten lately.
Yeah, it's been my new one.
So, but Karen in Naperville is concerned about the stock market levels feeling overheated and wonder what she could do to protect her savings that she'll rely on in retirement. I think you ought to meet with a financial planner, even if it's not us, and see what hedging strategies you might employ to reduce your risk. And as she asked later on about how should retirees or people soon to retire think differently about risk than younger investors, less risk. Unnecessary risk is unnecessary.
Love it.
If we can, what we're always aiming to do, and it's not easy, but what we aim to do is to minimize risk and maximize return, which sounds weird because all the time people come to us, they think they need more risk to get more return.
Yep.
And there is a law of diminishing returns. So as you get to too high a level of risk, you're actually going to make less money.
Yeah.
And we could show that to you better if we tell it to you. So get on our phone calendar at tuckerretirement.com. And if we need to, we'll get you a Zoom link so we can show you on the computer. We don't charge anything for that. Karen asked about diversification. We see a lot of people that are highly concentrated, not very diversified.
Yeah. A lot of people think they're diversified in this sense, but they're holding just S&P 500. They're missing the rest of the world. So, what worked in the past isn't going to always work in the future.
Yeah, that's a great point, Max. People will have their money in the S&P 500, and then they'll miss out on how Just having trouble with the camera. People have their money in S&P 500 and they don't realize they have no exposure to the international market.
Yeah.
And that means no Japan, no Korea, no Australia, nothing in Western Europe.
No Mexico.
Yeah. So you've got to make sure that you don't just own the U.S. only. Okay.
Yeah. No Israel.
Yeah. The U.S. is going to do tends to do better than other countries most of the time, but not always. There are plenty of years where the international will outperform the U.S. And right now, what's highly valued, the most highly valued market in the world, meaning the highest prices, are in the U.S.
Yeah.
So if you want to go in the bargain bin a little bit, we should be looking at international as well. And some of the international companies turn out to be tomorrow's all-stars too. We had also Karen in Naperville was asking about income strategies. This is a big one where folks, their income strategy, a lot of folks, their income strategy is to retire tomorrow and file Social Security yesterday.
Yeah.
Not a good plan for most folks. You can really miss out on a lot of income that you could be getting for Social Security that you won't get, and also your surviving spouse may not get. Also, you could be causing federal taxation on up to 85% of your Social Security, when with proper tax planning, you could potentially pay zero federal income tax on your Social Security. So that there's a lot there.
I see a lot of people try to do that 4% or 5% rule as well.
The 4% rule that was disproven by the study
by the guy who did it. Yeah.
Well, they had a study said no. They had a study that disproved the 4% rule, and they said no, the new rule is 3%. And then a couple years later, somebody disproved the 3% rule, said no, the new rate is 2%. So this whole 4% rule, and there's actually been a study done by David McKnight did another study that proved that with hedging strategies that you could actually have an 8% rule.
Yeah.
Now that's potentially, and I got to say that's hypothetical in that. But when I read the research, and really we are really big on hedging strategies to cover your backside. So we just can't roll the dice with all your money. That's really bonkers.
Yep.
So all of that. So I think we've covered quite a bit on this episode, and we started out just talking about, are we taking too much risk? Is the market too high? And for a lot of folks, yes. And really the folks that we serve tend to start out with us at about age 55 to age 70. Now, we certainly work with folks that are younger than that and folks that are much older than that. But usually when folks are starting out with us, they're usually 55 to 70. That doesn't mean that if you're 50 that we shouldn't talk. We're happy to talk now and never do business with you for maybe 5 more years, perhaps, or not do business at all. But we want to help folks not hurt themselves.
Yeah.
And a lot of folks are just kind of guessing their way through things. And it'd be like Natalie and I don't know, a few months ago, we got a new furnace and AC. You know, I mean, it's a big project. And it's
expensive.
Imagine, and you're thinking, oh, maybe I could buy. This is an idiot thought you have for 2 seconds. Hey, maybe I could buy a furnace and a new AC unit, and I could get on YouTube and I could put it in. And then I saw the amount of work it took. It took 5 guys like 12 hours, and they knew what they were doing, and they were hustling the whole time.
Yeah, I'm good on that. It's like trying to do your own electrical work. Nope. Nope.
Yeah, it took 5 guys 12 hours. That's 60 man hours or people hours. It's 60 man hours by people who know what they're doing, and it involved a lot of electrical, and then it involved gas and all this stuff. I'm like, I don't think I'm doing any of this.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
It was just my idiot thought for a minute. I'm like, I had a high profit margin in these systems, isn't there? And then I'm like, you know what? You earned it. And those guys got dirty and they busted their butt. And I was like, here you go, guys. Here's the check.
They have a job for a reason.
They have a job for a reason. You know, get your kids in the trades, because you can't buy an HVAC system on Amazon. I mean, you could.
Yep. If I had a kid right now, that's what I'd be looking at and talking.
I'd be like, you're not going to college. You're going in the trades. Daddy needs long-term care. So anyway, thanks for joining us on the podcast today. We have another podcast episode next Monday at 0500 hours Central Time. Go ahead and like and subscribe, please, and share the podcast on Facebook or wherever else you can think of. Text it to a friend. Also, don't be bashful. We'll talk to you 15 minutes for free in the coming week on our phone calendar. Just go to tuckerretirement.com or click down below. It'll be in the description. tuckerretirement.com. 15 minutes for free on our phone calendar the coming week. Max will get their questions answered, Dan.
And answers questions.
And their answers questioned at tuckerretirement.com. We'll talk to you on the next episode.
See you, folks.